Cool.
Hey everyone, welcome to this webinar episode. My name is Travis Lima from Paid Memberships Pro. Now, we have been doing a couple of customer sort of showcases and kind of podcast episodes, and today is no different. I'm pretty excited about today's episode because I am joined by a martial art man, let me actually just save that and I'll let Luca, give his own introduction. But I am here with Luca D. We've fairly recently, ran a sort of a showcase or case study on our site. And Luca has been using Paid Memberships Pro for a while. And I'm very excited to be speaking with him today and just pick his brain on a couple of topics. Luca, how are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing good. Thank you, Travis. I'm excited to be here and thankful for the opportunity to speak with you guys and share a bit about what I do and how it's all going.
Now, thanks, Luca. And I actually wanted to sort of just steamroll because this topic or what you work with is something that I have got a general interest in. So I had to sort of stop myself from just blabbering on and, giving you an introduction. For those who don't know who you are and what you're about, can you give us like a little bit of a sort of, introduction on yourself?
Yeah, sure. So I've been training martial arts for 16 years now. I'm 28 and I started when I was 12. And it's become my lifestyle. It's what I do now with martial arts as well as well-being and fitness. As time's gone on, I've gained other qualifications, but really martial arts has been the biggest foundation in my life so far and something that I've continued with. And I began teaching at an early age as well, at 22, and I've continued pursuing that and continued with teaching that as a passion and what I enjoy.
Great. So when I was much younger, I think I made it to green belt in karate, and I was sort of influenced by my father, who said, you should probably go and learn some martial arts so you can protect yourself, etc. Can you tell me a little bit about why you started martial arts at the age of 12 and sort of like a little bit of history behind that?
For sure. Like many people, actually, as a sort of 4, 5, 6-year-old, my dad was already showing me Bruce Lee movies. So I was extremely heavily influenced by Bruce Lee as an inspiration as a young kid. It's always stuck in my mind. But it wasn't until actually a Wing Chun class, because I primarily teach Wing Chun as an art, which is a close quarter self-defense art that actually Bruce Lee trained in before he developed his own style. It wasn't until a class popped up locally to me, and my dad took me along at 12 years old, and it was an adult class, so I joined an adult class, and from there I just kind of knew that this is where I need to be and where I should be in a way with my training and the focus. And over the years, from sort of 12 to 22, when I eventually got my black belt, it became a central point in my life to keep me focused, to keep me disciplined. I look back now and realize how much discipline, and it still does every day, but how much discipline I learned just from being in that environment. For me, that was the environment that gave me that discipline, that focus, and really something that consistent in my life that I felt that I wanted to be at and continue with. From a self-defense perspective, I never really thought about it too much, especially as a kid. You just kind of want to train and everything, but obviously from a self-defense perspective, it gives you a lot of confidence in knowing that you learn about your own body, you learn how to handle yourself more than anything, and you learn to read situations more, which I think's super more important aspect than anything else is learning about yourself. And yeah, from there I kind of started teaching. One of my teachers actually advised me to start up a class, and originally I started up a kids class at 22, to, and once I started teaching, I think about 3 years in, I
Mm,
realized, well, no, I realized I already knew I enjoyed teaching, even though from the beginning, it took me a little while to find my rhythm with teaching, because teaching is a whole separate skill from anything else. So it took me a little while to find my grounding. But I think about a year in, or 7, 8 months, I started to find my rhythm in teaching. And I was at that time still working other jobs. So I'd be doing my classes on the weekend teaching and working a 9 to 5, standard 9 to 5 jobs during the week. And it literally took me about, I think, coming up to 3 years when I realized actually I can afford to just do this full time. My classes have picked up from sort of an average of like 5 students to sort of 20 to 25 students in the class. And at that point, I had 5 classes. So I went from 1 to 5 classes.
mm.
And as well as my personal training, I'm also a well-being coach. So I gained them other qualifications along the way. And I realized actually it was more like a bit of a surprise, to be honest. I was like, actually, I can just do this. I can just focus on this. This is what I'm doing every day anyway, because this is what I love to do. And now I can financially afford just to do this as well, which was
Mm.
quite the blessing.
Yeah, for sure. Man, there was a lot to sort of unpack with that, what you said. I mean, it sounds like many people might go into martial arts training for sort of like some sort of outward result. Maybe it's got to do with I want to get a little bit more fit, or I want to prime my body to defend myself or those around me in a sort of a hostile situation. But from what I could gather, it sort of sounds like you actually develop a lot of inward traits of discipline and knowing yourself and learning yourself. So that's pretty interesting. And something else you said. So okay, so as I imagined it, you started teaching and you started an actual face-to-face academy for children and the rest. Now, you mentioned that you started off and it took you a couple of years to grow to a point where you could actually sustain yourself, as a full-time kind of gig, if you will. Now, what would you attribute that growth to? If you could, sum it up for us, like how did you actually market your services, or how did you actually start accumulating more and more students over that couple of years period?
For sure. I mean, easily for me, the biggest sale was actually word of mouth. So word of mouth was easily my biggest sale, because that's where I gained most of my new students from. So really, primarily, it was really from just enjoying teaching and focusing on improving my teaching and just taking it kind of from there. Really, word of mouth was my biggest. I tried many things earlier on as well with advertising. I put a lot of money into different avenues for not much return, considering the money you're putting in and stuff. So
Mm.
easily, word of mouth was my biggest. People would just recommend me. People would bring people, and it just kind of grew that way. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And something that I've picked up on the sort of webinar episode beforehand, where I was chatting with Matthew from How to Play the Sax. He teaches saxophone lessons online, but he has got an absolute passion for music and specifically the saxophone. And it sounds like you have got a passion for martial arts. This is what you want to do. It's not something, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it was never this thing of like, hey, let me go into the martial arts business because I'm going to get paid really well for it and it's a lucrative kind of business. It was something that it sounds like you hoped would eventually lead to becoming sustaining you financially, but at its core it is your passion. Would you say that that is more or less correct? Or
Yeah, for sure. I mean, as a kid, I never thought about these things. Like, I never thought, I didn't, I never really thought about like, I want to teach martial arts. I did not think I'd be a teacher of anything. actually. I
Right.
did not think I'd teach anything. So at 22 to like start teaching, I did not think I'd end up doing that. But actually, one of the things that did kind of spur me on as well is early on in the once I began teaching and made me really push towards it was also just the fact that a lot of people didn't think that you could make a living out of it, and that actually spurred me on, to be honest. So that also, my objective was not to. I never really thought I want to make a business out of something because it's just my passion, and it was just it's what I do every day now, and it's part of my lifestyle, and I'm gonna do it whatever's happening, whether I'm getting paid for it or not. I'm gonna be training every day because it's what I love to do. I'm gonna be studying, learning all the time. But
Mm.
early on, one of the things that also drove me was sort of people also not believing that you could turn this into something functional and that you can live on, basically.
Mm. Okay, no, that makes sense. And Lucas, so at some point you you got this idea to maybe move from a sort of one-on-one brick and mortar kind of, academy. And I would like to know if you are still running that sort of face-to-face academy. But we also know that you eventually developed a membership site and you chose Paid Memberships Pro for your site. Now, before we go into the nitty gritties of your site and how it works, etc., can you tell me a little bit about your headspace from, moving onto a sort of a digital media? Like, what was your thought pattern, or what's the ideas behind that?
Yeah, interesting. I mean, fundamentally, what I realized is I was spending a lot of time learning online from various teachers in martial arts, and also I do dance, and teachers from where I'd never get a chance to learn from, basically, because they're in other countries or for whatever reasons you wouldn't get a chance to learn from. And I think if you're interested in the field, you want to put as much time into it as you can. And in that manner, the virtual world allows you so much more access to things that you'd never get access to, that you can pick up so much more information. And if you're dedicated and focused, you can use and learn from. So really, it was actually from me learning so much from other teachers and seeing how they're doing it that I was inspired, like, okay, this works. But also over time, my students, I was always making them videos and at the end of class making videos, and just to help them, because in martial arts as well, and with many classes, most of the time you do once a week. Most people go to a class once a week. And
Mm.
really, if you want to progress in something, that's fine. But if you want to step up your progression, if you want to make it as part of your lifestyle, if you want it to have a bigger impact on everything you're doing, you need to spend a bit more time within that field. And I realized as well that I can give them more learning resources to help with their progression and also help them grow, basically. So it was really a combination of me seeing and learning from other great teachers and seeing that they're doing it and how they're processing it and how I'm progressing by using these myself, and also my students progress, because when you're teaching, it's like a puzzle, and it's a bit like trial and error as well. You want to try things out, you want to see what's working, especially when you're developing with a class and how to teach them. You want to see how they're interacting with it as well. So over time, I started to realize more how creating videos, creating online resources to give them extra for the students that really want to keep progressing, how much of a big impact it can have.
Mm. And the nice thing with over a certain period of time, and it can be used multiple sort of times for multiple people, and you won't have to necessarily repeat the process over and over. It's not to say that you make this thing once and you walk away, because I imagine that techniques would change or you need to update, etc. But overall, you can sort of use that content in a variety of ways over time. So that's a very nice takeaway. I might be jumping the gun a little bit here, but I wanted to know, martial arts has got a lot to do with technique, maybe stance, how you conduct yourself. It's a bit of a technical practice. Now, in my mind, I feel like I would want someone physically to show me if I am punching correctly or if I'm doing a block correctly. Can you say a little bit about that? Or have you got any thoughts on how you can properly bring across a technical aspect like martial arts in a video format, or if there's anything that you try and help get your students practicing as accurately as possible?
So I've also, it's an interesting question as well, because also over this period that we've been through, I've been teaching solely online. So all my teaching has been via Zoom, which has really put a different perspective on things. But I'd say that for me, my online academy complements already, like a martial art, for example, it complements it, and it's really for people that either can't access a class or want to build on whatever they're already learning in class. But as a primary source for only doing martial arts, then you need to train with people. Like anything, it's a physical, so you do need to train with people. From a self-defense aspect, you need to train with people to learn how to put it into action. But the other side of that is, in martial arts, any martial artist that has progressed far in their career, most of their training they've done by themselves. And that's just the way it is. In any field, if you want to learn something, most of it you do by yourself. So for me, that's really what it gives people. It gives them the learning and understanding to help progress by themselves and put in that time if they want to progress to that level. From a teaching perspective, you have to adapt a lot. But if you're doing one-to-ones, it still works very well. Because actually, martial arts is such a visual component. It's really movement. So it's such a visual. You can still correct people and see people's form and structure very easily via online. But from a self-defense perspective, yes, eventually you need to be training with people to learn how to make it work, basically, if that answers your question.
Yeah, no, it totally does. And I think it's, you touched on such a valid point there that, you have to put in the time by yourself. And so that makes total sense that, of course, you can't just maybe get away with completely solo training, because there's going to come a time where you actually have to physically practice it, maybe against an opponent or whatever the case may be. But for a large portion, you can build up muscle memory and, sort of get accustomed to certain techniques and that along the way. And of course, as you said, Zoom is now becoming more and more our way of working and doing things. So it will be interesting to see how technology will match how we do things in the next coming months and years, etc.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. So I'm going to actually, if you don't mind, Luca, I want to go ahead and actually share my screen a little bit, and we're going to maybe start talking a little bit about your website, about your membership site. From what I gathered, you are specializing in Wing Chun, and please correct me if I'm saying that incorrectly. You've also got OWOA martial art practice, you have well-being, and you have functional fitness. Can you tell me a little bit about what you're doing and your membership site as a whole? If you want, feel free to say, Travis, go ahead and click on this or that, and then I will try my best to, walk me through your site, if you will.
For sure. So I'll give you a brief overview quickly. So my 4 courses on the site. This is the once you've entered in as a member. So we've got the Wing Chun course, which is a close combat self-defense art, and that is primarily focused on defending yourself at a close range in any self-defense situation. The OWOA martial arts is more about improving the movement quality, the movement awareness of the practitioner. So it's really more of a mind, body, and soul approach, whereas the Wing Chun's more straight to the point. If you've seen any Wing Chun, it's a very fast, explosive, close range art. So that's more straight to the point, self-defense. OWA martial arts is more about improving the capabilities of the practitioner, their movement awareness. We actually start moving from the ground up. So we move from the floor and build up to standing and how we're moving in all these different positions. If you click on the ground one, you'll see that some of the setups. Now the video.
Luca, I also noticed something pop up here, and like here in the top right. Let me actually see if I can just. Oh, it went away, but I'm just gonna minimize my logo here if I can, because I saw a bit of an experience bar. It doesn't look like I can make this go away somehow.
I think it did come up. I saw it. It's kind of hard to see, but it did. And if you click on the my profile, that experience points will probably come up again, and it'll show you kind of what the experience points are for.
Okay, I'll open that in the tab, and then we can go ahead and look at the experience points. So we can maybe touch on that in a little bit. But sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just wanted to grab it while it was up there. For those who didn't see, there was a little experience, and I'm trying to get my logo, my Paid Memberships Pro logo hidden, but there was a little +1 experience point notification that popped up here, and Luca's going to talk us through that in a bit. But Luca, sorry, so you were saying about the OWOA training.
Yeah, I mean, so all through the site, I've got these scattered parts, giving a little bit more insight story behind what each of the courses are about and how they work. Yes, and I have these different layout setups for them, and they're just built in a way that you go stage by stage through. If you click on if you go back to the courses page and you go on the Wing Chun course.
Okay. And these videos that we have in that gallery, that is only accessible to members. Am I right? How have you set that up? Is it using Vimeo, it looked like, or?
Yes. So this is using Vimeo and the Vimeography plugin. So and using Paid Membership Pro, depending on the level of the user to access which videos they can access. Even on my most basic membership, you can access all 4 courses, but there's some extra, depending on your level, there's some extras that you get with it. But yes, I'm using Vimeo and Vimeography. If you click on the Wing Chun, I'll show you the slightly different layout, because with Vimeography, you can do different playlists, so different layouts for your videos. If you click on the stage 1.
Stage 1 over here, the fundamentals.
Yeah. And so, for example, this is the playlister layout, which is a little bit different from the OWA martial arts one. You can scroll down. You're welcome to click on a random video and push play.
Okay, great. I'm not entirely sure if the audio will come through. I hope it does to the viewers. Can you hear that, Luca?
No.
I think the
voiceover.
Yeah, I think the audio won't come through, but I mean, if you are watching this, you can hear perfectly what Luca is demonstrating. It's a very neat layout, I have to say, and it's like nice and compact and easy to navigate.
Yeah, so you get all these different layouts with the Vimeography plugin, so you can use all different layouts. I think as well for anyone that wants to look to doing this, creating their own website, Vimeo is obviously a great way of doing it. It's easy to limit the access to your site, and it's easy to get it set up. And also you can create your own layouts if you would like to go on extras. Along the top, it
Extras
should,
at
yeah.
okay. I am going to jump to extras in a bit, but I have to ask you, what is this? It almost looks like a word puzzle of
Yes,
sorts.
if you look along the bottom, you're gonna see some Wing Chun terms.
Okay, so I see Bruce Lee. So is the idea for me to find Bruce
Yes.
Lee?
So you'd click on the first letter and the last letter of the word.
Okay. Sorry, I may have done that backwards. Okay, great. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I've always loved games, so I like adding all these little things in. There's
It
puzzles,
felt like it felt like a little bit of an Easter egg that I had found. It was yeah, it's awesome. Maybe I might just come back after the webinar episode and see if I can find the rest of the words. So you said I must go ahead and click on the extras page, right?
Yes. Before we talk about the XP points, I'll just quickly show people. If you go on and this is just extras for my members, so there's just a bunch of stuff here. But if you go on the Academy toolkit,
Okay, sure. There's a lot. I see you've got Spotify and YouTube and photography, even. So, are these all bundled in with your membership?
yeah,
Okay, great.
links in there. I'm still building this layout for the toolkit, but I just wanted to show people because I created this layout myself, and in a way, you can be as creative as you want with things, and you can make stuff yourself as well, basically. So, I mean, if you click on a video, any of them,
Can I click on the welcome?
yeah.
Welcome to the Academy.
And yeah, just to show people a different layout, a different something they can create themselves, and just it's something they can do themselves as well. Because, like I said, you can use Vimeo's great, Vimeography, the Vimeography plugin's great as well, and you can create your own layouts as well for pages depending on how you want it set up, and it's just for people to see really that they can do it themselves.
That's fantastic. So, Luca, would you mind us chatting a little bit on the experience points and tell me a little bit about your thought process around offering experience points? For me, it sounds like there's a little bit of a gamification added in. So maybe you can just chat to me about that.
Yes, for sure. So, yeah, part of the gamification is my general interest in teaching, because over the years I've looked into all the different ways that people learn, and I want to provide with people with an enjoying way of learning, enjoying way of progressing in anything. So yeah, it's part of a gamification. When you access certain pages, when you complete certain things, you get experience points, which leads to different ranks, different badges, and over time I'm going to be building that up bigger and bigger. And with the experience points, you'll actually be able to buy um, other things. You'll be able to buy privates with me. You'll be able to buy other courses that will be coming out, and that's where that's going with that, because I just think it's a more of a fun way of doing things.
Fantastic. And it definitely wants, like, I've got this natural tendency to want to go deeper into the content of your site and actually rank up experience points. Maybe that's the gamer in me, and, that sort of like inner kid that wants to go ahead and do that. So there's a couple of things here. I see this badge. Now, are you using the Paid Memberships Pro membership badges add-on to do this, or how are you running your badges?
So with I'm using my cred for the experience points, and ranks and badges come with that. So I'm actually using my cred to do the ranks and badges and accumulate the experience points.
Fantastic. No, that's really great. I wonder if I want to just go ahead and look at. Can you tell me a little bit about specifically your membership levels that you have? So,
Mm.
I see I'm currently on the yearly saver, and Luca has gifted me this for this webinar episode. But
Oh, no,
if we
no,
go,
forever, Travis.
oh, thank you. Oh, fantastic. I can pick up my martial arts skills then. So, Luca, I see we've got to join us today. Simply select your package below to get started. Can you talk me through these three packages and maybe give me a little bit of insight to what you feel is working, what you feel is maybe not working as well? What's a popular package? Why do you think it? Anything really surrounding that kind of topic?
For sure, for sure. So I've got three options there for customers, students that want to join, and they all provide something a bit different. But overall, I found so far that really, number one is best to give people a choice, give people the option to choose. I mean, some people are going to want to pay by month. Actually, I pay for some things in life by month, and other things I pay for the year. So I think overall, they're the best way to go with options. And yeah, and it also gives people the choice to decide, do they want to start off with the basic membership, see how they feel about it. But also within them levels, they get the 30-day money back guarantee anyway. So if they ever weren't happy with anything, they could do that. But I've actually found so far, probably for me, and I think we have to take in context, it's literally just been a year for me in August with my online academy and paid membership pro. So I think things will change with what's had the most sales. But for so far for me, probably about 75% has been the yearly saver, which I'd say I'm actually probably more. Actually thought I'd sell more the basic and the focus in because I thought people would more choose to pay monthly. But actually, I think if people decide they want to do it and they like it, they're more willing to just pay for the year and save a big discount. And that's kind of what that's what I found that most people have gone towards. And yeah, really. So that kind of surprised me, to be honest.
Yeah, that's really interesting because sometimes you would find that people would want to try a basic package and then sort of move to the yearly saver. Do you find that is what's happening? People are maybe trying, say, a basic or a focus in package and then jumping to a yearly saver,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
do you think that they just kind of go head in for the yearly saver package?
I think a lot of people have gone head in, but some people, yes, they've tried the basic and focusing and moved to the yearly saver. But I also, sorry, I should have said, I think that a lot of people have gone straight in
Okay.
because um in and for me it's been mainly in the UK. And that's why I think it'll change over time because I think as my sort of reach goes out, probably that'll start changing with because with what people want to go for. But I think because in the UK and especially people kind of already know me, if they've in that respect, then they're kind of more likely to go straight to the yearly saver. Whereas I think abroad, maybe if people don't know me as well, my exposure is not as big, then maybe they'd be more likely to go for the basic or focus in at the beginning. So I think that will probably change actually, but I might be
Mhm.
wrong.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Something that we recommend it, but a lot of people don't always have the luxury is actually, if you're starting a membership site, it's a really good idea to have some sort of audience already. And it sounds like that is what you had. You already had a numerous amount of students. You might be pretty well known in the UK, as you mentioned, or at least even if you aren't considered well known, there you have a foot in the door as being a martial art trainer, teacher, instructor, whatever you want to call it. So you have a little bit of leverage there. Can you tell me a little bit about your marketing or your sort of promotion of this are you finding that this is a word of mouth thing for the most part, as your actual brick and mortar kind of
Mm,
training studio was, or are you doing things a little bit differently, and what is working for you?
for sure, for sure. So yeah, and I think like you just said, because I have more of a footing in the UK, because I've been teaching here for 6 years, and people know me more here. That is why people have more likely gone straight into the yearly saver. And for me, so far, that has been a biggest percentage of sales, really, biggest percentage of students joining up, people that already know me, people that have been taught by me or have an idea about me. I think that's part of the trust process that takes time to build with people, and more likely to get them to commit because they know you, they know how you're teaching, they know your personality. And so I think that's why as well with this now, obviously now I'm spending a lot more time on YouTube because I want to let people see outside of the UK, more abroad, what my personality is like, what I'm teaching, and decide, because ultimately you're deciding who you want to teach you. And I think the good thing is now with things such as this that you can reach more people, but then you have to branch out. So yes, I'm using YouTube to help kind of build up relationship with people and see what I'm like basically. And that's my main focus right now actually, is using YouTube as a avenue to get people to learn about me, to build a relationship and see if they enjoy my teaching basically.
Right. And I haven't had the luxury to actually check out your YouTube channel just yet. I do see that there is a link here, but I'm not quite done with your site. But from what I'm gathering is, and correct me if I'm wrong, you are using YouTube, and I'd imagine that you're trying to offer some free content over there to sort of get awareness, promote yourself, promote your brand. So you're offering what I would imagine to be some valuable but yet free content to sort of reel people in and get them to know you. Would you say that's accurate, or?
Exactly. For me, it's all about them getting a chance to get to know me, because ultimately that I think that's going to be if their decision if they want to join up or not. It's going to be if they like the teacher. So YouTube for me is really I've got a lot of teaching on there. I've got about 10 hours of live sessions on there, and hours and hours more of other shorter videos teaching and stuff. But really, it's primarily to get to know each other, basically.
Yeah, no, that makes perfect sense. Um, and so, how has this? You said that in August, you reached a 1 year with online kind
Mm.
of your online membership site. What has been the biggest kind of? Has there been a big challenge for you overall? What Can you tell us a little bit about that journey?
So yeah, definitely. I think for me, from my martial arts, it's taught me that things don't just actually happen overnight. Like I said with my classes, it took me 3 years to get to a level which I wasn't really expecting either, but it took 3 years to get to a level where I could um, do that financially. So for me, starting up this academy was I knew from the start that it's going to be an ongoing project. It's something that I want to keep building for the rest of my life, basically. So I think the hardest thing could have been there's been two big challenges, actually. Sorry. One would have been if I thought I was going to just do this and suddenly, boom, like, oh, it's going to grow into something crazy. But I didn't think that, to be honest, because I know from martial arts that it's just, you're the tortoise and you just got to be consistent.
Right.
Um, and secondly, really was operating the site. I had no knowledge. So my site was built, by the way, by Creative Website Designs. And at the bottom of my site, you'll see a link to them if you want to check that out. Um, Georgina built my site personally, and she done a great job in staying in really good contact with me, getting the site looking like it's looking, and also recommending me things like Vimeo and Vimography, and you guys as well, by the way. Actually, she recommended you guys to me.
Oh,
So
great.
if you're interested in getting a website done, then I highly recommend clicking on that Creative Website Designs and checking her out, and checking them out, and try and get in touch with her, because she was super helpful, because I had no experience in this online world, really no experience with IT. So to get set up and get going was a big was easy because she helped me. But after that, because I've been building this myself, it's like learning a new language. So that's been really the second biggest challenge, is just learning WordPress.
Mm-hmm.
Really, that's been a bit of a challenge. But I think after 5 or 6 months of spending a lot of time on there, you realize actually they've made it pretty simple.
Right. Yeah. You just
It's
have
very
to like wrap your head around it.
yeah.
I think there's like so much value that you just gave in there. So the first one is definitely, it doesn't just work in the way build it and they will come, as we like to, joke around a bit. It does take consistent effort, learning, trial and error to really build up something to a stage. As much as we all would love to pop online, set up a site and get people, joining us, and, we have the luxury of accessing every single person on this planet, but we also have a lot of competition and they have a lot of choice, and it just takes time to build up your own personal brand and get your site or anything really. I like to tell people that especially during this time, a lot of people have tried to move their kind of brick and mortar store online and get the same results as what they were generating sort of face to face, in their face to face business. And, this is essentially a business, and it takes time to really get, planted in the minds of your customers that who you are, what you do. And yeah, so it just doesn't happen overnight. And I think the second thing that you mentioned is you obviously got, what was this person's name that runs creative website designs? Georgina. And you actually got Georgina to help you set this up. Now, I'm assuming that she charged you for it. You paid her to, get set up to a degree. And that's also something that, sorry, what was that?
Yeah, I mean, she initially got me set up, created the website. So obviously I paid for the website to be created and set up. But within that, she helped me so much. All the extra time she gave me, if I had questions about anything, she'd just be straight there. So she didn't charge me for any of that, all the extra help that is priceless, really. Having the right recommendation, knowing where to go, what to do, that would have took me hours and hours to try and work it out myself. So she didn't charge for that.
Yes, and that's actually the point that I wanted to touch on. It's like, it's something that I'm learning, and a lot of our members and customers are learning as well, is you can't always have your cake and eat it. So you could probably have set the site up yourself, but it would have taken you a lot more time to learn, research, go through it, and you essentially employed or contracted this out to someone who gave you all of that time back. So it's not to say that you're out of the woods. You had zero time put into the site, and maybe you could have even gone that route if you wanted to, but then you would have had to outlay a lot more money for Georgina to continue doing stuff, etc., etc. So there's also that balance that you have to consider when building anything like this.
Yes, and I knew from the start anyway, I wanted to have a hands-on approach because I want to connect with my members after. So I knew that I wanted to have a hands-on approach after. But, if I had to do this from scratch myself, build a website with no background in it, I would have never got there. Because I'm a martial artist. I need to train. I need my time. We've only got so much time. We've only got so much time in the day, and if you're trying to do everything, fundamentally you're going to forget what you're doing, what you really should be doing. And so that's why it's so important to work with people. Same in teaching, picking teachers you like, or anything you're doing, working with people that want to help you grow and on the same path as you.
Luca, I see that we're running a bit low on time. I just wanted to, give the stage to you a little bit. For those who are watching or are, in the process of building up a membership site, or perhaps they are interested in getting in touch with you, how can they find you? Can you drop us a couple of links, YouTube channels, Twitter? Just let us know where we can find you and how we can get in touch with you and learn more about your practice.
For sure. One final thing.
Yes.
PM Pro as well is so simple to use. Even someone like me with no experience can just get it plugged in and going straight away. So that's been a massive help as well. And also, one of the reasons when you asked about the webinar that I really wanted to do it is because even with your YouTube videos that you've been doing consistently, they've been helpful. When you're new to a field, you spend so much time as well doing, but also trying to pick things up and learn and save time. Hopefully that's what your tutorials, your videos that you've been working on, and your interviews been very inspiring and super helpful for me as someone who's new to the field as well. So yeah, thanks. I just want to say thanks for that.
Fantastic. I'm just happy that it is helping, because you don't always know how it's being received. So that is like, you just made my day. Thank you very much, Luca. That's great to hear.
My pleasure. So yeah, if people want to check me out, you can check out my website, lucad.com with 2 C's, so LUCCAD.com. If you just write in Luca D on YouTube,
yeah,
I'll come up.
You'll come up.
Yes, you can write in OWOA movement on Facebook or Luca D, and I should come up as well. But if you go onto my website, all the links are along the bottom there anyway. So you can just click on them links, and also my Instagram. So you can find anything there, and also creative website designs to the left of that.
Let me give a shout out to Georgina over here. So if you are, well, you don't have to be in the UK, but if you are watching this specifically from the UK, check out creativewebsitedesigns.co.uk. Georgina built Luca D's website and got him all set up and ready to go. I like actually giving a shout out to people like this, because we often get asked about it. People are like, where can I go? And we do a lot of our clients do come from the United States, but following along closely is people in the UK. So if you need some help with your membership site, why don't you check out creativewebsitedesigns.co.uk and check out Luca D on YouTube. I'm just going to go ahead and pause that. So check out Luca D over there, as well as Luca D on Instagram. Cool. Luca, let me just go ahead and stop sharing so I can just see you. Thank you very much for joining me today. I learned a lot, and I'm sure our viewers did too. Is there any last thing that you want to close off this webinar episode with, or any tidbit or something I've missed?
I'll definitely put a link for people coming for PM Pro discount. For PM Pro members or people coming from there. And also, Travis, you're gonna do a private Zoom session with me. We're gonna get it booked in, and I'm gonna give you a private martial arts Zoom session.
I would absolutely love that. Thank you, Luca. Who knows? Maybe this is like my calling, and then it will be so interesting to see. So thank you very much for that.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Cool. All right, everyone. Thank you for watching. If you stayed through till the end, I appreciate it. With me today is Luca D. Check out his site at, I just want to make sure I get it right, lucad.com, and that is with 2 C's. He's got a fabulous membership martial arts website. Go check it out. And I'll post the link down in the description below for the discount that Luca mentioned. And if you want to learn more about Luca D, we have done a case study on him. It should be down in the description below. Ansi has done a thorough analysis on his site, and we've got a lot of good information to share there. So go ahead and check that out, and you can also find a link back to his site directly on the case study. So for that, I am going to go ahead and wrap up this broadcast. Luca, thank you once again, and goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Cheers. Bye.